Ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, loved ones, big hugs to you all. Thank you so much for hanging out with me as I do a solo act from around my little wooden table. And this is one of these things that everything that we're talking about here is 100% spontaneous. I haven't actually read what we're about to read. I have read it before. In fact, we typed it up and wrote it. But I have not read it. I don't know exactly what's going to happen or what we're going to be talking about. But what I do know that we will be talking about is we will be talking about the walk that our Creator's Son had amongst His people. And today you're going to get a little bit of sound effects here because everybody in the house is kind of sick and they've been bedridden for a while. And so I'm out in here in the main room. And so this main room, you're going to get to hear the sound effects of the popping, which may sound like rain to a lot of you. But it's not. It's actually just a piece of tin that is on the roof. And as the sun beams are hitting this tin, it just makes popping sounds. It's expanding of the metal with the heat and cold. So I will continue on with this because if not, I have no other way to do this because I'm sitting around my 9 pit bulls out here and they have to have somebody to babysit them 24/7. Or if not, they get into some kind of chaos. But we are here to talk about the Word of our Creator. And the Word of our Creator is something I am always going to pioneer and champion and cheer on and say that without a shadow of a doubt that if you don't know what the laws of our Creator are, then you're missing out on the best part of life. A lot of people that will come to listen to this probably have never ever heard of people who obey the laws of our Creator. Not only do we obey the laws of our Creator, but we love the laws of our Creator. The laws of our Creator are found nowhere else but in the first 5 books of Scriptures. That is what will give us a foundational point of guidance towards everything in life. It will give us a way forward, it gives us a direction, and it also gives us a way that we can shape our families and mold our people, hopefully the people who will be a part of the kingdom. Now, the kingdom is a place that I talk to my brothers and sisters in chains quite a bit about, because a lot of the people that I talk to are in a state of hopelessness. One of my primary jobs that I do over the course of every day is communicate and work with my brothers in chains. And I'll say sisters too, but the majority of it is the brothers in chains. And there's a lot of brothers who have lived a very, very Torah-less life. And as I hear the stories that are coming out of the prison system and out of these guys who they'll never see freedom again. They will never ever see freedom in this realm. But these guys have found something they never found all their life. I'm going to be doing an incredible series on Behind the Bars with this individual. His name is Tom Raper. And Tom is one of these guys that was, as a child, let to just go crazy. And all through his life, it sounds like he has always been right at the edge of some sort of massive problems. And he now has life sentences for murder and for things that, when we look at it, it's very, very disturbing. But when we look at it as a society, that our society doesn't have a set of laws that are governed by our Creator, because we've told everybody the laws are on the cross and they don't matter. And so all of these very, very important things, the strategic parts of the Torah about not endangering our neighbor, not hurting them, having valid weights and measurements, not hurting the disabled, right? There's all of these fine-tuned pieces of the instructions, the good instructions that our Creator has given to us that we don't even know, because we have said, they're dead on the cross. Jesus came and died, and so we don't have to keep them. But I will tell you, my friends, from the 3,153 page monstrous book that you see right in front of you, and it is monstrous, guys. This is 7 pounds. Now, people will send in hateograms instead of ordering the scriptures, or instead of just saying, hey, the shipping's really expensive, guys, you have to understand this is nearly a 7-pound book. When you get this, it's 6.5 pounds. But by the time you get the shipping material and stuff in it, they're shipping 7 pounds. This is like a big brick. Now, this brick contains all of the instructions of our Creator. It also contains all of the extracurricular books that have been ripped out of scriptures that people didn't want us to see. The things that hide the truth, things that we just don't know. Like if you would take these scriptures and read Yah Scriptures, or any of the Apocrypha, even the book of Enoch, if you look at the book of Enoch, the things that you can gain from that is incredible wisdom. Because if Enoch is to be believed, then NASA and the entire so-called space agencies are to be very much distrusted. And people will get hooked up on this and say it doesn't matter one way or another. Well, I believe it does matter. Because all through scriptures we hear that we're stationary. We're not moving. The foundations, there's always like foundations of the earth that are movable and shakeable. It also says the earth is the step stool for our Creator. But if you look at the book of Enoch, it literally will give you the blueprint for how the sun and moon are released every single day throughout all the seasons, and why it is that time and seasons are what they are. And it's really fascinating when you read it and you write it down and go, wow, this is a very plausible understanding to the way of our world that we never had before. And so, guys, right now, Yah Scriptures is a limited edition. This big blue book is absolutely available, and a lot of people are getting it, and it's not going to be here forever. So if you would like to get it, YahScriptures.com is where you can get it. Our website is right there. If you would like the free versions of it, every platform is available absolutely free of charge. This has always been, the PDFs are free, the books are free, everything that we have is listed out for free. You absolutely do not need to buy this. But when you do, then you have the word of our Creator in your hands, and you have a bulletproof piece of equipment that will hopefully excel your soul into the kingdom to come if you read it and apply it to your lives. And what we're able to do is we are able to, by you purchasing one, we're able to get a full scriptures, the same thing that you get, into our brothers and sisters in chains. And a lot of you don't understand how precious that is, but when you are locked in a 9x5 cell for decades, and then somebody presents you with a large, big scriptures that you can read, that's large print. Guys, this is large print. It's absolutely huge. And so it is built for marathon running reading, so that you can read and read and read, and hopefully your eyes don't get tired by having to squint and put on specs and put on reading glasses. It is large. And so this was built for all of us, and it was also built to put evil away from us and to give our assembly a better way forward. And so today, guys, we are in the book of the Nazarene. We are in chapter 12. We just finished up chapter 11 last week. And I believe this is where we're at. Let me make sure. I think this is it. Let me go look. All right. I believe this is it. Yeah, there it is right there. Okay. So we are into chapter 12, verse 1, and this is the life and times of our Messiah. And why it's fascinating, why it's something that we should apply, is because we want to get as much as our Messiah said and did into our understanding of how the kingdom is going to work. Our Messiah, Yahushua, he's going to be a leader in a place that is a supernatural place that right now it exists only in the spectrum of the engineering design plans of what it will be. The kingdom seems like it's already designed. The New Jerusalem is already somewhere being established, and it's going to come down on top of Mount Zion. And from there, our Messiah will be bringing people over, and this is why we will need to work out ways to get over to the new kingdom when it comes. And when we are there as residents of this kingdom, there will be Shabbats, there will be appointed times, there will be all sorts of things just like this. So let us begin. After being away some time, the 12 emissaries rejoined Yahushua and gave their reports. And when they had finished, he said, "You have done well. Let us go away to a secluded place where we can be alone." Andrai said, "Spare me time to visit my woman folk so I can be assured they do not lack food or suffer." Yahushua said, "Yahuwah will provide for those who serve him faithfully, but men are not always suitable tools in his hand. Go and do whatever has to be done." This is very interesting, and I will say that when you are willing to do whatever it takes for the kingdom, that our Creator will give you projects, he will give you mission, he will give you things. And this is, a kind of a testimony of Yah Scriptures, is that we had no idea that the bottom line was we were going to be projected and trajected into the prison systems, to where there's a lot of people. There's 60 or so people across the U.S. that rely upon Boss Clan, that rely upon myself to support them in a lot of different ways. We have brothers that we're mentoring, that are mentors to others in prisons, the people that have Torah-based people. And there's people springing up in Torah all over, and they come in and I get with them, and the very first thing we do is we send them all 158 some commandments, and then we break them down, and over the emails that we're doing, we're explaining very, slowly, and asking them if they have any questions, a lot like we do on Shabbat when we read over the commands on Yahuwah and the Torah when we go over it live. And so if you're willing to be used, the Creator will absolutely put you into places, sometimes dangerous places, sometimes places that you have no idea where you're going to be. And if you ever look back, there's no way you could have ever guessed this would be where you were at. And so, I believe that is very, very true. And so the thing in verse 3 that says that Yahuwah will provide for those who serve him faithfully, huge piece right there. Our Creator does take care of all of us over and over and over and over. I see it throughout our assembly. I know there's a lot of people struggling, but I also see miracles and spiritual stuff that people are always talking about. They're saved here. The waters were rushing in. It took them out. They were saved. There's just supernatural things that assist the people of our Creator. Now, Messiah goes on, then he says, "But men are not always suitable tools in his hand." This is very true, right? Unless we are doing the Torah, and this really infuriates the Christians when you tell them that. And I'm not saying works is a salvation. What I'm saying is that if you are a piece of the Torah, if you are a member of the Torah community and you really love the words and the instructions that our Creator has given to us, then by us having that love for them and applying it to our lives, then we start walking the Torah life. What does that mean? Well, that means if we're hearing these words and we have one of these dark sins of let's pick on the pornography again, because it is one of these things that you're breaking a lot of commandments simply by the act of pornography. And so if we are able to identify something that we know it's not just an act that we're doing, we're becoming unclean, we are committing adultery, we are making whoever it is in this the so-called sex scene an adulterer as well, more of an adulterer. We're just adding on a whole bunch of things that we should not be adding on for a brief moment of pleasure. And then what do you have, right? And absolutely nothing. So that's just one particular one. Another one would be identifying without a shadow of a doubt to make sure that you are not eating unclean food. So many of us come into Torah, and I was, a decade ago, I was a pork rind eating machine. If you were looking for a snack, I had pork rinds, we had bacon bits, and I don't even think bacon bits are bacon, like real bacon, but there's other stuff that's very suspect in the bacon bits themselves. But that was us. We were a raging Gentile, happily saved, and we were out saving everybody else as I'm sitting there gnawing on my flipping bacon bits, right? This is the problem, is I did not know because I was a lazy person. I didn't ever read my scriptures. I was handed down doctrine from my mother that from her eyes was complete doctrine. And if you go against it, in the programming of any religion, you're a heretic. Oh, you want to eat clean food? Oh, get out of our church. Oh, you want to worship on a Shabbat on a seventh day instead of first day? Get out of our church, right? They turn on you very, very quickly when you're not under the man-made doctrine. So we have to make sure that we are suitable people in the hands of our Creator. Suitable people mean that we have clean hearts, clean minds, clean souls, and we're doing what the kingdom wants us to do. So this is Andrew, right? Andrew was worried about his woman, right? Hey, man, and that's a very valid problem, right? But Messiah didn't stop him from going to check on his old lady to make sure that they were okay. He said, go and do whatever has to be done. 4, the rest set out in a boat, but when they reached their destination, a crowd had already assembled. Yahushua spoke to the people, teaching in parables, and when at length he wearied, dismissed them and went to sit alone on a small hill. Again, this is the stardom of our Messiah. This was, you could not even roll up in a boat and people knew who was coming. They were coming to be healed. They were coming to be listening. There was something very different about our Messiah that was extremely different than anyone else that they had seen, right? When you see truth that is walking in the way, that is coming in the light of the Torah, that has the Ruach of the creator of the universe on them, it's like a magnet. Messiah was a massive draw, and they came wherever you read in scriptures, in Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, or the rest of them. Messiah was always enthronged by the people. He was famous. And that's why the Pharisees and the Sadducees, who were Talmudic people, and being Talmudic means they have 200 plus other books other than the Torah, other than the first 5 books of scriptures. They keep all of their oral Torah, the stuff that came out of Babylon, along with some really spooky stuff, the Kabbalah, the Zohar. They have all these things that deal with kind of black magic. And so it's something to be very, very concerned with. 5, actually. Meanwhile, the Talmudim had put to sea in a boat, and as darkness fell, tried to row back, but the wind was against them. Yahushua therefore waded out to them in the darkness. Then the wind being in their faces, they quickly crossed the sea to a village where many sick and lunatics were brought to be healed. Interesting stuff, right? This is, lunatic is a big thing, right? This was a word that, it's a sickness. And so this is something that obviously they were able to be healed. And a lot of times it's not just a sickness. A lot of times what I have seen and observed is there's literally unclean spirits and a lot of people that are very, very sick. And, when you look at the sickness of depression, and, you look at these guys in their white coats, and they have an answer for everything, right? They'll take this, you'll be depressed for a little bit. Depression is okay. It's not bad. You just got to pop this to get out of it, right? And sometimes there are things that we need to address. We need to figure out what is really going on. Why are we in the state that we are in? And, for those who are always, falling into that depression, the biggest thing that I think we can at least take some of that away is simply by reading scriptures, simply by focusing our time and our energy on something that is going to build our spiritual structure is better than sitting around and worrying about things that we can't control, things that we don't need to be worrying about. We know that our Creator very much cares about all of us. He cares about our health. He cares about our ability to get food. He cares about our ability to have clothes. That's one of the Torah commands. If somebody has given you his coat as a payment for something, and you got to give him the stuff back before night so this guy doesn't get cold. There are a lot of commands about our fellow mankind that we miss. And so, continuing on into this, 6, going to the place where they were staying. It was then the cool of the evening. Some of the Talmudim, which are the disciples, started quarreling, but soon quieted down. When they were all in the house, Yahushua asked them what the argument had been about. But they were silent before him, not knowing what to say. For they had been disputing among themselves as to who was the greatest among them next to Yahushua. Now, this is crazy, and maybe it's only crazy because we can read this story, but that's one thing is when you were walking next to the king, it would be so hard to ever compare yourself to be anything close to him. And I think it was a little pompous. It was a little rough. And I'm sure these guys were great guys. I'm sure these guys were absolute Torah keeping, Yah loving, Messiah loving individuals. But this is a very interesting argument of who is the greatest among them next to our Messiah. So Yahushua then said, whoever wants to lead must know how to serve, and the humble-hearted serve best. That's big words, right? We've heard about this, right? The first will be last, the last will be first. And, in life, what Messiah says here is absolutely the very best advice. Now, I worked for Google for 4 years, and I was in charge of all sorts of stuff. I was in charge of repairs teams. I was in charge of 1 million computers. There was a lot of stuff that I was working on when I was there. And the guys that I would interview all had these great PhDs, and they all came from college, and they would tell me all this stuff. And we were in the data center mines. We were in there pulling in hundreds of thousands of computers, sticking them in racks, plugging them in, getting the operating systems on them, making sure they weren't broken, doing all this stuff. And it's a loud environment. You have to wear headphones because it is so loud because of all these fans. And so I'd see these guys that came in, and they had all these college degrees, and we'd get in the data center mines, and they failed, and they withered, and they wilted, because you can't just be good at installing computers or knowing Linux or Windows or any of that stuff. You have to be able to get in there and just run it, and you have to be able to know how to work hard. You have to know how to be able to get in the trenches. And I could never find the people I was looking for my data center mines. And so I went out to the local orchards of this town, and I went and I found all of these guys that barely spoke English, and we brought them into Google, and we brought them in as temporary workers. And these guys, they outworked these guys with the PhDs all day long. And at the same time, they started coming up in computers and understanding because they were in this environment where they absolutely had to. And so it was the guys that were literally the humble orchard workers, the guys that were like day to day, that were doing these things, that were the greatest among the people that we were looking for. So Messiah has it hit right on the head when he talks about all of this. Now, Messiah is going on about who is the greatest and who is not. Yahushua then took the arm of a young child belonging to the house, who had been standing behind him, and drawing the boy forward, said, whoever accepts responsibility for a little child such as this accepts me, and whoever accepts me accepts my cause. For it is profitless to discuss greatness apart from responsibility. Let the one who can accept the most responsibility be the greatest. This is huge stuff, guys. This is absolutely one of these things that maybe, I think this is probably going to be our last discussion point, because this is big stuff. So we have incidents before in scriptures when we have the little children, right? And we hear about the little children, and there's something special about little children. There's something so special that for all the those who use children in the wrong way, which seems like it is a worldwide epidemic. Well, scriptures talks about things such as this, and having children stumble because of things that you have done to them. And the answer is that it's better to have a millstone hung around your neck and tossed to the depths of the ocean than it is to harm a child. But yet, nobody seems to heed any of these words, and we are living in what I would call an epidemic of beyond depravity. We are literally just we're here. We got to be in the end days. The stuff that's acceptable now, the stuff that they're pushing through, and when we call this stuff out, we get banned. We get censored everywhere because you can't say that. That's hate speech. That's going to hurt somebody's feelings. So we're in a real strange spot in this world. So let's talk about it. The child. First of all, we have anybody that Messiah says, whoever accepts responsibility for a little child such as this accepts me. These are huge things. Now, why would us accepting a child be accepting our Messiah? Because our Messiah came enamored with the Torah. inside of the Torah, we know we love the stranger, we love the orphan, we love the widow, we love everybody who is our brother and sister, those who are keeping the Torah, those who are broken. Those are our family. And so when we are willing to put ourselves on the line for a child, and those who are good, people who adopt orphans, those are the people that probably are getting a lot of chips because we're supposed to be taking care of them. But let's talk quickly about who accepts my cause. What is the cause of our Messiah? Well, the cause of our Messiah is the same cause that his father had. Our Messiah in John says that he did not come in his own volition. He did not come in his own reasoning. He only came because his dad asked him to. And he did not bring his own Torah. He brought the Torah of his father that was spoken before creation ever was. Messiah and his dad were before creation was. A lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people think that our Messiah, Yahushua, people call him Jesus, was born when creation was born, but that's absolutely not correct. When you read through the Apocrypha, when you read through all of it and you understand it, there is definitely a realm outside of this realm where more than likely the Creator's Son grew up under him, under his ways. And so according to the Apocrypha, before creation, our creation, when light was separated from darkness and our Creator went crazy on this stuff, building it all, the Torah had already been established. So these are not words that were just made up for man. These were words that were made up for the system, for the entire world. The same for the Sabbath day. The Sabbath day has been kept in the realms. Every seventh day, it's not just the people down here on earth that are willing to keep the Sabbath day, but there's entities elsewhere. There's messengers. Everybody's keeping the Sabbath day. It's a very important day that our Creator has established for all of his creation. Now, he kind of whips him right at the end when he says it is profitless to discuss greatness apart from responsibility. And that's one of these things that you're not going to know if you've made the cut until you've had a lifetime of working on this. It is not something that we can just say, oh man, I'm good, I'm getting this, I'm great. It's something that, even when it comes to Torah, I don't think I'm great in Torah. It's one of these things that I can read these scriptures. We literally wrote this book, typed it line for line, tittle for tittle, put it back, and then we read it over and over and over. But I can read it again, and I get new stuff, and I go, why didn't I pick this up the very first time? Or like, wow, this is all coming back, or this makes so much sense. These books and these words are alive. And when you read them with an understanding that it is a love letter and a thing, an instruction manual that is a gift, the Torah, the first 5 books of scriptures, is a gift. And so if we're trying to figure out what the cause of our Messiah is, well, the cause of our Messiah is the same as his dad. That we keep the laws, statutes, and commandments, that we are doing what we need to do, that we are becoming kingdom material. The kingdom is not going to be for raging Gentiles. It's not going to be for those who don't have a set of doctrine. Matthew 7 says that. The kingdom is going to be for those who are willing to understand and realize that there is a designer out there who designed everything around us, and he gave us an opportunity to walk these lands and to breathe these lands and to choose right from wrong. We can have as good a time as we want to have on these lands. It can land us straight up in prison to the point where it was such a party that's where we ended up. Or we can seek the righteous path. We can seek the ways of our Creator. We can see what needs to be done in our lives. And none of us will know how to walk the Torah unless we read the Torah. Guys, the first 5 books of scriptures is your foundational book for scriptures. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Now, all the rest of scriptures is absolutely part of scriptures, and I don't think you get things outside of it. I don't think that you get commandments throughout the rest of scriptures, and I know that is an argument for a lot of different people, but here's the bottom line. When you have the first 5 books of scriptures, when you make it down to the words of Shaul, Brother Shaul, where he is, by what would most say would be saying the Torah doesn't matter, or what the understanding comes in English, it doesn't make sense. Because every other single book says, for all generations, I want you to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. I want you to be my people. I want you to be reserved. I want you to have your own covenant with me. But then you have all these religions that say the laws are nailed to the cross, which is so sad. It's such a sad thing to hear that. And then you have all the Apocrypha, and the Apocrypha gives us all this understanding of the same stuff that we ever knew. And you had the Jewish people, they took out all of these right here. These are the Testament of the 12. The Jews would not let everybody have the patriarchs, the 12 patriarchs, right? And there's all these ones, that all these different religions all over just have taken out. And by the time you get done, you end up with 66. Does that seem weird? 66? Beware of that number, guys. So with that, guys, I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for hanging out with me. Much love to you all. I'm out.